Right, before I get the video started, I would just like to say I'm sorry for the fact this video has taken me so long to actually make. There's a few reasons behind it. The first thing is I've had a lot of trouble with both the camera and the cassette deck. The camera's just, the memory fills up so quick in this, and the battery it's not really suited for video recording. Another thing is the cassette deck, that had to have its belts changed because it wouldn't stop chewing the damn tapes. That is another reason why cassette decks chew tapes, is because the belts go. Since I've changed the belts on my TEAC thing, it's not chewed the tape since. Another thing is, well, like most normal people now, I have a job, and I'm going to say it right now, the job's more important than making really bad videos for a very small YouTube channel. So anyway, that's my excuse for taking so long to upload this. Anyways, I hope you enjoy this really hastily edited video. There's no script to these videos as usual, it's basically my own words. So yeah, just enjoy it as well as you can, and I'll hopefully upload something a bit more high quality in next year. So yeah, enjoy.
Cassette tapes? Do you mean the things that sound really, really bad? Jesus Christ, I hope they're gone.
Okay, let's address the first problem, which is the infamous sound of a cassette tape, where people say, oh, tapes sound bad and that. Well, I'm just going to say one thing real quick here. I have a selection of my 3 best sounding tapes and my 3 worst sounding tapes. And let's actually get along to why these 3 at the top are the best sounding and the 3 at the bottom are the worst. So let's start off with this one here. Red Manga Records Retro Nouveau. The reason why this is one of the best sounding tapes I own is because it's practically a homemade short run release made on a very high end tri-head deck, 3-head as they're known as, on a very nice tape stock. I'm taking it out of frame there. So basically this is what you're expecting these days on a low run release, a really nice tape recorded on a 3-head deck. That's my newest tape, and the funny thing is I've actually put my oldest, my physically oldest tape in my collection is also one of the best sounding. This is a original copy of Let It Bleed from, what year is this one? It should say somewhere. Made in 1969, original from 1969. And this is one of the best sounding tapes I've got. You know, it may look all manky in that. If I take the tape out, the labels are starting to bubble up. But the reason why I think this is one of the best sounding is because even though this was in a smoker's house, I mean, it was really yellowed. This has been really well looked after, and from what I can tell, it's not really been played that much. And you know, you can probably tell it's one of the earlier ones because it's actually got no lead, and this is, if I get the driver, that's as far as it goes. So this is one of the very early ones that's probably not had much play time, and till this day it still sounds very nice. On the right is a fairly older one, 90s released, Wallflowers Bringing Down the Horse, apparently. Focus the camera in a little bit. Yeah, I've got it right side up. Now, what makes this older tape sound better than the newer one down there? You can probably tell just by looking at the colour of the tape. It's almost black. It's because this tape uses a formulation known as chromium dioxide, or dioxide, however you pronounce it. You can see how dark the tape is. It's almost like videotape. Like, these are the tapes you really want to be looking up for, because in my opinion these have the best sound that you can get from a tape. If you bias your deck up properly and play one of these, you're probably gonna think of tapes the same way again. I'm out of words to say, but another way you can, because they don't always say chrome on the case, like this one doesn't say chrome anywhere. Another way you can determine if a cassette you have in your collection is chrome by not looking at the tape or seeing if there's any like logos ringing along it. It sounds strange, but you actually sniff the tape. A regular type 1, like the two down there, those will smell pretty manky and rusty, which is basically what they are, rust on plastic. And one of these really nice sounding tapes would have the delightful smell of crayons. I'm not joking here. The better sounding tape has the scent of crayons, and if you want a good tape, that's what you've got to be looking out for as well. I wouldn't recommend doing this in public, like, because people will go look at you weird, and in this day and age you're probably going to get asked a few questions. Right, let's move on to the worst out of the bunch. Okay, so let's start off with the worst sounding tape, and you had a little snippet of this at the start. This unfortunately has had some water damage, and I have tried replacing the pad and that's not worked, and because of the water damage it's very hard to move through the cartridge. I'm actually having to put quite a bit of torque in to get that moving, even though it doesn't look like it. And unfortunately that has rendered this tape useless, and it's quite upsetting really, because I really wanted to listen to this for such a long time, and I'm probably, when I get the Manga, I'm probably going to get the vinyl variant, because I do collect the Stones on vinyl as well, not just cassettes. So that's quite sad for that one. So that's one of the bad traits of cassettes. The second one, another album I loved, and it was the Pretenders' debut album, Pretenders. And the problem with this is, if I get the tape out, I've changed the pad on this. The pad replacement on this went superb. On this, the best replacement I've done on this. But unfortunately, if I get a spot where I can see it, I'm not sure how clear that's going to be. But you can see like these lines. That is a sign of the tape being eaten. And also that's a sign that this tape has not been cared well, and the owner, the previous owner before this, not the guy I bought it off of, this guy I bought it off of, he usually tested these and he said it was fine, and it played fine for a while, and my deck gave up. I'm repairing that eventually. But unfortunately this has been through an owner that didn't really care about the delicacy of the actual tapes, and he probably just left them in the car fully pinch rolled to stick onto them and mess them up, and unfortunately that's what's happened here. So yeah, that's quite sad, and that's rendered, it's still playable but it sounds bad. And moving on to this one, Talks, The Party is Over, The Party's Over, Talk. Good album this, I love this one. It's barely playable now, I can actually listen to it. But when I first got it, it was like this one, but the tape hadn't decomposed like on this one. This one had water damage, and it just refused to play. And luckily enough, now I'm not putting any torque whatsoever into this, and it's nice and smooth, and it sounds pretty damn good for how old it is. And yeah, that's a sign that the tape has been stored in a very humid environment like a loft or a shed. And to be honest, that's not a very ideal place we will be storing tapes. The ideal place is on a nice shelf in a room where you can actually access them quickly. So yeah, the difference is if a tape's not being taken care of, or it's a bit too late in its time, then you obviously go have ones like these where they suffer and they won't play and they'll have that distinctive awful cassette sound. Or if you go for a new, very well looked after, or a very nice late release, you are going to have a very enjoyable experience with tape. And yeah, it's probably going to be no different to using a I'm not going to say it's going to be no different to using a CD, when it's obviously not, because tapes you'll have to search the tracks, and that's actually going to be the next part in this video. So these are all good, these are all bad, so these are damaged in a way, and these are playable. New, old, decent, old. So yeah, let's move on now. I've made my point. Okay, I thought while I was here I was going to talk about the fact that even though cassettes do have quite a decent sound to them, the digital version is always going to sound better than the original. But when it comes to pre-recorded cassettes, sometimes the actual recording quality of a tape from a respected label like Atlantic from Warner on a decent Type 1 tape stock will sound sometimes better than what you can achieve with your own equipment. And for a bit, I'm actually going to go full Tony real quick and just say this: the recording you make at home on a NOS machine is always going to sound better than what you can do buying an album these days, because albums these days aren't made with the best tape stock, and in most cases they don't use noise reduction. I talk about recordings, we're going to get two tapes out. That one. And that one. And the first problem is, one is absolute junk. One sounds awful, and one is a well regarded tape that I would keep for future use. And I'm just going to give it away right now. This is the one that don't sound the best. I have had lots of problems with these. These squeal like a pig before Thanksgiving, before Christmas dinner or a roast. These things are awful to use. Sometimes at the end the tape sticks and it doesn't leak. The tapes don't leak, do they? But they do shed all over your head. So every time I use these I have to clean the deck out. Before, I'm losing words. But before we actually move on, the way you can differentiate between a good tape and a bad tape is the bad tape will often be a cheaper material opposed to the high end one. It'll be looser. You'll see a lot more wrinkling than you will do on the TDK. TDK is a Japanese company, very good. I would highly recommend them if you're starting to actually record mixtapes, because from this time I've either been using professional Maxell or TDK tape stock. The cheaper tapes will not let you see the tape inside. It will always be fully opaque unless you hold up to a light or something. The higher quality tape will always have some sort of window so you can see the tape inside. And another thing, of course, the better tape will always, like I said earlier, the tape will always be made by a reputable manufacturer. ACCCs, they specialise in cleaning equipment, not audio. And TDK, even though they did make some pretty nice audio recorders, that's not their strong point. Their strong point was always the tapes. So just keep that in mind when you're collecting cassettes. Always go for the ones that sound good. If they look nice, they won't always sound good. So yeah, moving on.
Well, there's no point in cassette tapes these days, especially when you can't find the track you want on them, and also you have to keep flipping them over, which is a bloody waste of your time.
Right, hopefully this old girl behaves, because the belts have gone, and that's why it's taken this video so long to actually make, because I'm still waiting on the belts to get here. Another thing about belts, the belts cost less than the postage. The postage actually costs more than the belts, which I really don't get. I mean, £5 for a set of belts for this, with nearly 20 quid's worth of postage. What's the point in buying the belts? You might as well buy a new machine that's serviced. Anyway, rant over. To the people that say you need to get up and do all this thing, it's all labour intensive and that. To those people, they may not know machines like this exist. This is, like I said earlier, this is as computerised as it gets. This is a 1997 TEAC R-H300. It's from the 300 series. There's two sets of these. There's a 500, which is a little bit slimmer and wider, and there's a 300, which is smaller and thick. But don't get me wrong, even though this is a bit controversial with its subpar mechanism, I absolutely adore this machine. It's beautiful, and it sounds quite nice as well for a cassette deck. So let's go through the controls. You've got all your counter stuff here: reverse mode, Dolby noise reduction, which does both B and C. CD sync, which will work if I had the rest of the components. If I got the mini disc, then I have the whole setup. But enough of that. We have the rewind and fast forward, but also next and previous and next, which is why you're thinking, why is it on a cassette deck? But with a cassette deck like this, there's two play buttons. There's a forwards play button and there's a backwards play button. Why is there a backwards play button? Well, to the people that say you need to go up and flip the tape over, let's just say this machine's equipped with a feature that will stop you from saying that. It's actually got a feature in there called auto reverse, which basically means it stops, it plays the tape backwards, but as it's doing so, it changes tracks and plays the other side. So yeah, I'm actually going to use the Retro Novo, so hopefully Tony doesn't mind me using a bit of his music. Or the other artists, my credits should go to them, they do release some quite great stuff. In it goes. Let's fast forward it a little bit. So, press play. And it's actually playing Body Talk by Safari. So let's just say we want to go to, so it's playing this track, the first track, and let's say we want to go to Sleepless Nights. So we go 1, 2, 3. We want to go to track 4, so we've got to skip it 3 times, so 1, 2, 3. You've noticed the counter's gone off, it's put 3 up and it's now flashing the play symbol. What it's actually doing is it's locating the track I wanted, and it's counting down the tracks that are on here. So eventually it should play Sleepless Nights, No Mercy. Thank you. May not sound like much is coming through, but it is. There it is. And let's just say, people say, oh, it's a cassette, you've got to flip it over. Yeah, nah, mate. My machine can do it for you. Not just the auto reverse and all the fancy features, it's still got its trademark fast forward and rewind. So, yeah. For a cassette deck, this is as computerised as it gets, like I said. It's got a lot of nice features, but lots of nice features also means lots of problems. Auto reverse decks are famous for going out, and this one's gone out in style. It started chewing tapes like a lot now. It's chewing like at least once a week, rather than it's once every 5 months. And the reason is because these auto reverse mechanisms are very complex, because they actually require flipping the heads over, which is not the best when you consider that this is a sealed unit and I'll have to open the lid to realign it, but that's no big deal. I've only got the screws at the front, so I can just pop the lid off any time and just tweak it, and that's basically what I have to do with this really. I've got to change the belts, and there will be a video of me changing the belts eventually when I have the patience, and when they arrive, of course. I might do the CD player as well, because I'm going to be changing the belts on the CD player as well. Yeah, basically the good thing is cassette decks like this do exist. They have all these really nice features, but be prepared to do some repairs if needed.
Oh yeah, those little things. You know, the ones that always keep getting eaten by your machine. Jesus Christ. Why do they keep getting eaten again? Is it because someone kept telling me to clean their heads? Yeah, that never bloody works.
Ah, yes. Believe it or not, cleaning the heads actually do work, because see this stuff here, the tape, that's what's called oxide, and that loves to stick and magnetise metal components inside your cassette deck. And people say, oh, it's just how it is, and you can't fix it. Well, with this handy little device, you bloody can. This not only cleans your heads and capstans and whatnot, but it also demagnetises it. And this thing is so easy to use. Get a bit of fluid with it, get 2 packets, put it in the one of the slots, open the deck up, shove it in. Make sure, if you're using auto reverse, make sure the auto reverse is on so you get a full playthrough. play one side, and leave it be until it stops. And just like that, if you look closely, it looks alright, but it's turned into like a slight off right. And that right there is cleaned, and it's not only cleaned but it's also demagnetized your head. So when you can get one of these, if you've got a cassette deck like this, these little things can really help.
Since people are starting to collect these things again, aren't they going to be expensive? They're going to be expensive for what they are. These are crap they are.
Well, to be honest, I don't really know how to answer that question, because a lot of cassettes I've gotten like really cheap, like in the pennies. There's been the lousy chair over so I can have a sit down and talk to you while I'm doing this. But the thing is, because there's always going to be a collector's market for obsolete media, and cassettes is one of them. So let's have a look at some albums I bought from Tape. So those are the belts, those are not on Tape. Come on. Ah, here we go. So 2 albums here. On the same album on 2 different formats. So the CD, that's £7.50, and the tape is almost it's just lower than half price. And you've always got to think to yourself, what's the better option? Well, the CD is a better option. Just sounds better, but tapes it's a really nice way on getting. If it's a good one like this where it's chrome, it's always going to be a good way on getting like an album you want on the cheap, and it's not going to sound that bad. But the problem is when it comes to like the collector's market. So let's go and try and find what's it called? Beggars Banquet, which is the Rolling Stones album. And to get it on the purple Decca labels, that's quite a hard one to find. But the actual cassette tape, here we go. Look at this. For the cassette tape, it's nearly 20 quid. Well, it's going to be just over 20 quid with the postage. So you've actually got to wonder, just because these are cheaper everywhere else, is it really the cheaper option? But sometimes, like I just showed you, a cassette tape can be nice and cheap and cheerful. But when it comes to like collector's albums, like ones from Rolling Stones, Queen, who else? Oh, bugger it. Any tapes that's got some sort of collectability to it, you're probably going to have to pay for that collectability as well. And sometimes I've seen tapes go up in the hundreds, which for a tape that's in quite good nick, that is feasible. But for something that's, well, you know, something like this where you can just get everywhere else, don't bother. Just get the CD or just stream it.
It's stupid, really. Only when you should consider that the only things that are being made from now are cheap Walkmans and slot loading cassette players in the side of a wooden box. Right.
I'm probably rushing this, but it's time to go into rant mode. So when you're buying a new high-end Tascam 202 Mark 7, basically what you're getting is, yeah, basically the quality of the mechanisms in these is no different to those, even though the one in my cassette deck is subpar as well. It's still quite a nice one. It's an older one, but back in the day when cassette decks were like big deals and that, the mechanisms in those could be almost 4 times the size of a cassette in its case. So yeah, they were big. They were really big. Take the mechanism out of my first cassette deck, which was a Bang & Olufsen BL called 1101. The flywheel in that one was about this big, and the flywheel in my cassette decks, you know, there's 2 of them are like that. They're tiny, and they're also made out of plastic, which don't help. Eventually I will mod them to have a bit of metal in them to make them sound better. But back to the subject at hand. The sad truth is, cassette, there's only really one mechanism being made these days, and I'm going to get a picture up of it right now. It's known as the Tenation mechanism. There were 2 versions of it. There's a full logic version, which is similar to the one I've got, even though I don't think the auto reverse equivalent is being made anymore. It's only one-way play, and there's just the mechanical playback, which is the most generic. You can find it in literally everything from boom boxes to those pile cassette decks. I mean, if you get them from a genuine company who is very truthful, like what channels like VRS I showed you, the ion cassette decks that use them, they're fantastic. They're Tenascians, alright, but man, they do sound pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna actually that will have to do. Basically, even though cassette decks are quite fancy, and that this is basically what we're stuck with now. It looks like that. It's not as fancy. It's only got one flywheel. Probably a bootleg Mabuchi motor. Other than that, it's not looking too good for the old humble cassette tape. So, in my opinion, what you should do if you really want to get into cassettes like proper, either go for a cassette deck made by a new cassette deck made by a reputable company like Ion, Marantz make one. It's similar to the Ion one, but it's much better in a way. Why does I say much better? It's not. It's the same exact thing. Just ignore me when I say that. Tascam and TEAC do make quite a good one. They also make a CD combo unit which uses the same mechanism, and the mechanism is, even though it's Tenascian, it's still pretty good. My opinion is to avoid the ones that are like a wooden box where you've got to push the tape in. Even though some of those are quite good, not all of them are made equal, and they are quite rubbishy little things. So you've really got to think to yourself, when you're buying a new cassette deck, what are you getting inside of it? Are you getting a decent electronically controlled mechanism, or are you getting something that's, well, 99% plastic and it's going to have all the piano and that's sounding like a wobbly mess? So yeah, so the mechanism side of cassette decks, it's not looking too good. If you want a good cassette deck, just do what I did, get an old one, and now just do a bit of service on it every now and then. That'll keep you happy for long enough. Then if you want to, you can upgrade to like a Nakamichi, which to be honest I might do, but yeah, just stick to like a 90s cassette deck with a lot of features. It'll keep you happy for a little bit, gives you a quick taste. Then eventually get a nice old cassette deck from the 80s that's all fully featured and that, and then you'll truly hear the magic on what cassettes can produce. Anyway, that's practically all I have to say for cassettes, really. Basically, I'm going to have to apologise for the amount of time this video has taken to make. I've had a few problems with equipment, and like the courage to make this has kind of gone out the window. So yeah, I made it in the end, and you're watching it now. I truly hope it had some narrative to it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll hopefully see you next time when I actually replace the belt in my cassette deck and stop it from chewing. Bye for now. You can subscribe if you like, but you know, it's your choice at the end of the day.
I truly hope this video has decided to show the good side of the tape format. It may not be the best, but it's destroyed to many all over the world. It's even cheap enough that you can actually buy those from at once. Hopefully I'll decide to make another video for this neglected channel, and I'll see you in the next one. You can subscribe if you like. I'll see you in the next one if I, like I said, if I bother to make another one. See ya.